Hey everybody, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I am the titular Casey of the Casey the Moss Goblin YouTube channel. I do D&D stuff, homebrew stuff and whatnot, and I'm going to do something a little different today. This is something I've been wanting to do personally for a while, is make a Dungeons & Dragons Christmas themed one-shot. Just never done it. My family just typically doesn't want to play Christmas, and that's who I usually see on Christmas. And I don't run any of my games currently. So I made all this stuff. I'll try to get my family to play this year. Probably won't happen. But for any DMs out there who are interested in doing something like this, I got you covered. I'm going to run through five um, Christmas, currently Christmas. Usually, they're pretty much all pagan roots. But five Christmas themed villains, monsters, just figures. Give you a brief description, and then I'll throw in like maybe one or two special abilities they might have, and you'll see how it goes. So first, we have Frau Perchta, who is an occasionally beautiful Austrian Germanic alpine winter goddess, sometimes associated with the wild hunt. She flies through the sky with her army of Perchten, who are spirits of ugly beasts with fangs, tusks, and horsetails, as well as some of them being beautiful and bright spirits. She also led the dead into the afterlife, particularly those who died in infancy. Her Christmas persona, however, is an old crone with a crooked iron nose, dressed in rags while carrying a cane, probably because of her one goose foot, which seemed to have signified she was a shapeshifter of some sort. She would pop in about a week or two after Christmas to see if you had spun all your flax into linen. If she was unsatisfied, she would pull the knife she hides out from under her cloak, slit open your belly, and stuff it with straw and pebbles. So that's the first one. So for her, I thought maybe some type of modified hag. Um, I like the idea of her using the knife under her cloak, so I would give her opportunity attacks when people come in range to sort of stab them. Throw on some sneak attack if you want. I'm gonna leave up the like damage and whatnot for whoever's making this, just because it would be crazy to make like a challenge rating for all of these things. So pull out a knife and stab them. You can also, I thought this would be fun. This would be a little mean of a DM, but I would enjoy it. You can also have them make a strength save, or she knocks them back after she stabs them, kind of forcing people to try not to get pushed back. Otherwise, she can keep stabbing them. Um, I also like the idea, because this very rarely happens, at least from my experience, is to give her some sort of wild shape. Um, maybe make it a little bit better than a druid's wild shape, so she could turn into something a little more powerful. It'd just be fun to fight this old crone and have her like turn into a bear or a rhino or something. Um, so yeah, that's Frau Perchta. Uh, Next, we have the Calicanceroi. These guys are tiny, furry Greek goblins with goat like legs and long black tails that live under the crust of the earth for most of the year, sawing at the tree that keeps the earth spinning, hoping to bring it down. They speak with a lisp. They're thought to be stupid because they can't count past three, and they eat small creatures like worms, snails, and frogs. During Christmas time, they sneak into homes at night when the fires are out because they both fear fire and light and cause mischief, which is a far cry from literally trying to topple the world. For these little guys, you could definitely play with maybe like a force or bludgeoning resistance because they live under the earth. It would also be fun for a creature to have like force resistance. That very rarely happens. Um, and if you go that route, you could also give them like fire or radiant vulnerability. So that's just a little flavor to make it a bit different. Light weakness, of course. Um, they could bonus action cast darkness on themselves, make it maybe a bit smaller, 5-10 foot radius, once a day. But they can use each other's darkness to sort of hide, give them devil's sight so they can see in it, and that would make these fun little goblins running around hard to hit and a bit spooky, because they use saws to try and knock down the tree, or at least that's what I got from my research. Is I would make on a hit, um, And at the end of every turn, the creature fails a con save. They'll take bleed damage. So basically, if you get hit, take an extra d6, d8, whatever you want to make it. And until they save, they keep taking that damage. Make it last for a minute. Um, and if you want, you can make the bleed damage non-resistible. So even if you're a barbarian and you're resistant to piercing damage, can't slash this down. Again, these are all up to you. The third one is Necht Ruprecht. He is St. Nicholas's German traveling companion, dressing in dark robes with long, shaggy hair, occasionally with horns, and sometimes riding a white horse. He carries a basket full of apples, almonds, peanuts, and gingerbread, as well as a birch switch and a sack full of ashes. If they can pray during Christmas, they are given the treats, and if they can't, they're given a beating. This guy, so I kind of like this one. So I was thinking for him, every time he takes damage, his horns would like burst into flames, and ashes would come from them and sort of fill the sack that he's using as a weapon. And basically, based on the amount of damage he takes, he does more damage back. So you can, obviously it depends on how hard you want to make him. But if he takes like 20 damage, he does like an extra d6 or something. Or if he takes 30 damage, extra d6, something like that. And just modify that for every something he does more. That would be fun. Be a cool way to sort of deal back like an equal amount of damage against your players. So that's him. Next, we have my favorite. This is kind of a twofer. These are both 4 and 5. First, we have Grilla, a massive and hugely strong ogress from Iceland with eyes in the back of her head, ears that hang so low they hit her nose, a matted beard, hooves, and black teeth. She also carries a sword and has anywhere from 15 to 40 tails, with sometimes 100 bags hanging from them. The bags are filled with 20 children in each who cried for meat during Lent. She would bring these kids back to her cave and cook them in a stew for her lazy husband and 13 sons, known as the Yule Lads. I wanted to make a thing about them, but it would just be so crazy and overcomplicated. But do look those guys up if you want to throw some weird flavor in your game. There's ones like Spoon Licker and Sausage Swiper and Window Peeper are their names. So that's fun, but not much in the way of giving them useful abilities, really. So Icelanders thought of themselves more as like tenants of their like harsh landscape, glaciers, volcanoes, earthquakes, and they saw the mythical figures that they believed in as more of the ones who were running the show. So with that, I would definitely give Grilla some sort of like nature magic, specifically like that sort of theme, like earthquakes, ice storm, earth tremor, even like summon elementals or something. I would make her giant size too, or whatever the 10-foot square is. So she's got a sword, 10-foot range, but she also can attack with her tail. And on a hit, if you're hit with the tail, you're grappled. And basically, once you're grappled, you're moved 10 feet away from her. And no matter where she moves, you stay 10 feet as long as you remain grappled. Each tail would have its own hit points and AC. So you could either, on your turn, make a contested grapple check to escape, or you could just attack the tail and try to do damage to it and lop off her tail to get out as well. If you're still grappled on your second turn, you have to make a strength save, or else she'll stuff you in one of the sacks that she has. And once you're stuffed in a sack, it's a bit harder. You become blinded. So, if you're trying to attack, you'll have disadvantage, and any spell where you have to see things, you can't cast. So I would enjoy that. The next one is her Yule Cat, or the Yule Cat, which I did write down the name. Let's give it a shot. Yola Koturin, maybe. It's an Icelandic word. I don't know it. The companion of Grilla, a giant black cat with a terrifying meow. I did some research. It's likely a troll cat, which is a beast made by a witch or a wizard. with things like wood shavings or dead men's bones or fingernails, is how they sort of make these things. If one of these troll cats wasn't buried with its witch, the witch would crawl out of its grave, go find the troll cat, and bring it back. So this is me extrapolating a bit what I think the Yule Cat probably was. Also, I'm using it for D&D, so it helps to have a bit more background on it. Um, it would bring it, so she would bring it back to, they would bring it back to the grave with them. It was said the Yule Cat would spray milk from its wounds if it was shot, which is great. Um, but this didn't really stop it from venturing into villages to eat children who haven't received new clothes before Christmas. Um, I like these myths. So I would make this Yule Cat obviously giant size, kind of same size as Grilla, and I would give it the a mass roar ability. So either in like a 30-foot cone or a 10-foot square in front of it, it roars, and everyone in the area makes a strength save or gets knocked back. I thought it'd be cool if they were knocked back a little bit less, maybe 5 or 10 feet, but it also would knock them prone. So it becomes hard to just get to this creature. And I also, so you can have the ability where if Grilla dies, the cat can give some of its hit points to her. You can do that in whatever way you want. I would personally have it where the cat sprays milk on her. That is just me, but it would make a very funny moment, especially if you're doing like a Christmas one shot. Um, but that's what I would do. And those are my 5 Christmas monsters. Um, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do run this, honestly, let me know how it goes. I'm hoping to run it myself. We'll see. But yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.